Good afternoon, and welcome to Titan Talk. Hey guys, thanks for joining us today. Today I have myself, and don't worry, it's not just me. Today we have our wonderful talent,
I'm
Mr.
back.
McFarland. So,
How we doing?
doing well. Thanks for joining us. I'm glad. It's almost like we've missed you.
We broke up.
Yeah.
Almost. Yeah.
It's almost like you've been gone for a little bit. So
Yeah.
thanks
well,
for joining us
the
today.
tan and sunburn on
Yeah, I
my
say, look
nose.
at him. He's got a tan now. His little vacation. He come back. He looks happy again. It's wonderful.
Yeah, I need a little factory reset south of the border. So went to Riviera Maya. Had a great time. Fortunate to have some family members that have a membership to the Hard Rock. So it was all inclusive and we had a good time. So yeah.
Did you guys actually leave the resort or
We did for a sailboat excursion, but it's not recommended.
leaving the resort?
Yeah, just
I know.
it's good to stay on the resort. So
I just
don't
wasn't
have
sure.
to-
I wasn't sure if you'd gone out and
I
like.
have to call somebody up that has a very special set of skills. of finding
Well, I
people.
wasn't sure if you'd done like you gone like snorkeling or.
Yeah, we
scuba
went
diving or stuff
we
like
went
that.
sailing, which was fun, and it was kind of funny because there was two little pieces of the or portions of the boat that was like mesh up front where you
Yeah,
could sit
you
at,
could sit
and there.
on.
So I sat at one, and it was at the end of the day. It was a sunset sail, and there was a group of like 20 people, and there's 5 or 6 of us of my family were there. And we were hold on, I can hear
Golden
myself.
sailboat confirmed.
Yeah, it wasn't my sailboat, but I actually like to go sailing, and an old buddy of mine does have a sailboat, so we do go sail every once in a while at Smithville Lake, and it's like a 35-foot sailboat, so it's more than
Still
just
a
like the-
sailboat.
yeah. Oh yeah, 35 foot's a big. That's a good
big
size
boat.
sailboat. Yeah. And so we were out there, and I was just like laying in the mesh, and there was another mesh on the other side, and this lady was sitting there, and it was pretty choppy. And so
Yeah.
like the water was splashing up against you. It was really nice and peaceful. And about 20 minutes in, you hear this just, she was chumming the water is the best way to put it.
Oh.
She was creating chum. Yeah, she's, I don't get seasick or motion sickness really. So I haven't yet. I'm sure I might later, but it's never really bothered me. And she was not the same. She couldn't handle it.
That'll ruin it for you. I think my favorite. I had a vacation a very long time ago with family. We went to Cancun, and I got to do scuba diving.
Oh, yeah.
Well, they kind of halfway certified you in the pool, so that way you weren't out in the ocean not knowing what you were doing. So
Yeah.
you had a little lesson in the pool. It was
I've
like
done
2 or
that.
3 hours
Yeah.
or something.
Teach you how
And-
to use the equipment
Yeah.
and then set you free.
Yeah, and so we did that, and we did a group like exploring the ocean, and we were sitting. I don't know how deep we were or anything, but we were down in the ocean and
Right.
just blue everywhere you can see. It just goes out, and that I have a phobia of that.
Yeah,
not of the
no,
ocean, but it's
deep
like when
water,
you can't
yeah.
see.
Yep.
Like when it just like goes off into the blue, or that's what gets me. And so we're sitting in the ocean. And there's probably 10 of us, and then the instructor's floating in front of us, and we're swimming. And he stops and he points out to something out in the distance. And when it's real small in the distance, that means
It's really
it's
big
real
when it gets
big when it gets
close,
close.
yeah.
And so he points at it, and we all look at
No,
it.
thanks.
And you see the fin,
Oh,
right?
say the shark.
Yeah. And he motions at us like to swim this way. And
Yeah, create lots of bubbles.
yeah, and,
they like that.
and we all look at each other, and we look back at him, and every one of us is going, "No, we're okay.
we're good."
Like we're good." And he starts swimming towards it. And we start swimming the other way, and he's just like, "Where are you going?" We're like, "We're going away from this."
Yeah, away from the thing with lots of teeth.
But Billy, thanks for joining us. Brian, good to see you in there. Mike, good to see you. Dylan, welcome.
Who
Good to
are the
see you.
haters hating? Oh yeah, I guess we got
Haters are everywhere.
Talk about
so
we gotta talk
So
about
what
the
we were
actual
talking about is
podcast.
it's all right. Well, you're back, and I wanted
Yeah,
to welcome.
no, that's
and
fair.
Talk about your vacation a little bit.
Yeah, haters gonna hate. So
Haters gonna hate.
Yeah, basically that's kind of what we deal with in the industry and law enforcement security alike. There's a lot of hate for what we do, so we want to have some touch points and kind of go over that topic. And so I'll let Coop's got the itinerary over there, so I'll let you start.
Somebody
us
had
off.
one.
Yeah,
But no,
it got picked up by the cat. Rolled up into a ball and thrown at me, which hit me and then hit
yeah,
Leon.
that doesn't surprise me.
Yeah.
But no, so with what we do for a living, haters are something that you're always going to run into. People who want to make fun of you, or people who give you a hard time, and things like that. Where it makes life somewhat difficult and makes things interesting. And it's always good to be able to deal with that stuff and talk to them and be able to de-escalate the situation, and maybe make a friend of that person, make to where they like what the industry or have a better outlook on the
Or at least
industry.
just not be hated.
Right.
That's the goal. Don't hate us too much.
That's always the goal. But, and so having that kind of thing and being able to bring that back down to a more professional level hashtag rent-a-cop. We've been called that more than once.
Oh, yeah.
And you know, it's funny. We can actually go over some of the names that we've been called if you want.
Yeah, I don't know how many.
Can't say it. You know,
Yeah,
there's a
how
few of
many
them that you
YouTube
can't say,
safe, but
there's a few of them. Rent-A-Cop's one of my favorites. Flashlight Cop, I got called once. I loved that.
it's hard
one.
to say that when you have a gun on your hip.
But
yeah,
at the same time, it's still funny.
yeah.
But
So, quick story. We
rabbit
had
hole.
a property. Yeah, that would be a quick one. We had a property downtown, and I wasn't there yet. I was on patrol, and there was a closer patrol officer that we had to evict somebody from a B&B at a apartment complex that rented out the apartment.
Mm-hmm.
And the guy that went up there, he doesn't work for us anymore, but I won't say his name because not to embarrass him. He was a shorter, stocky guy, I guess is a nice way to put it. It's just shorter guy. You know who I'm talking about. Yeah,
Okay.
not him, but one of his buddies. And so
Okay.
I was 305 at the time, and he's dealing with this guy, and I can hear the guy over the radio because he's got his shoulder mic on, and he's clicking on to talk to us, and you can hear the guy yelling in the background. He's like, "Get the hell out of my face, roly poly!" And so he comes over and the radio, and he goes, 305. If I could get some assistance, that'd be fantastic. And so I go down there, and I guess this is kind of a toot my own horn. The guy's coming out of the elevator, and I'm standing there. I'm a taller, bigger guy. And I'm just kind of waiting. And the guy comes out, and he's yelling at this guy. And you can just hear him mother effing him up and down. And he comes out, and he looks over, and he's yelling at him. And he looks at me, and he goes, "Oh, you brought backup." And he's like, okay, I'll calm down. And he walks out. We finally get him off property, but that's some of the stuff that the guys deal with, and it helps when we can help each other. But at the same time, having a good physical physique and stature definitely helps, but it still doesn't stop you from getting called names.
No, it never does.
This ought to be good.
But no, and I've had that moment too. Can you do me a favor? Because Brian's yelling at me.
Yeah.
Can you move the microphone down a little bit?
Oh yeah. It's my face. Well, this thing's so freaking tight.
So I've had my moments where I've had that. Mike, I just called that out. He's yelling at me.
That's fair.
But I've had my moments where I think one of my all-time favorites is when I first got hired. I was doing kind of same thing, breaching into it. I was doing an apartment complex away from everybody. I was probably 45 minutes away from everybody. And we were sitting there. It was probably, 11:30, 12, somewhere in that area. And I'm making my rounds around this apartment complex, and this guy's sitting out his window, and he starts yelling. Well, he's on one side of the complex, I'm on the other, so I didn't really hear him. So I start walking closer, and he's yelling at me, going, "What are you going to do? What are you going to do about it? What are you going to do?" I was like, "What are you talking about? Like, dude, I'm in the middle of the parking lot."
Yeah.
Like, going at it, and he starts calling me names, most of which I will not say on the podcast because they are not
most
safe.
of the time when I got called, it's not very nice.
Yeah.
They talk about my mother a lot for some reason.
Mine too.
Like they know her.
Yeah. And so he's going off, and I kind of just looked at him, and I looked at him, and I said, "I can't hear you. I don't know what you're saying, so I'm going to ignore you." And I go to walk away, and all I hear is, "That's right, Rent-A-Cop, keep walking." And I just gave him a thumbs up.
Yep.
Because I was like, I'm not going to feed into it. I'm not going to yell back at you. And it's like, cool, I can't hear you, so fantastic, whatever.
Yeah. That's the biggest thing you deal with is they're trying to get whoever it is that's talking shit, essentially, is trying to get a rise out of you to make a mistake. And it happens in security. It happens in law enforcement. It's always really nice to see. You'll see some guys like on traffic stops where they're like, "I don't have to do this," and it's like they don't know the law very well, and they just get schooled. And there's times where there's bad apples in law enforcement and in security that make bad decisions. And the best way I can explain it is, on either end, whoever's in the wrong deserves to be in the wrong, and it's the most important thing is to keep a calm, level head, and be professional. And hey, one of the things we'll do, or I've learned, is just like, hey, it looks like you're having a bad day. Like, did somebody hurt you today? Like, what can I do to help you? And so just kind of throw it back on them. Or if it's somebody you can tell, is just gonna. There's no diffusing their anger, and they've obviously got some issues with authority or law enforcement or security. Is just ignore them, and as long as you have room to do your job, just let them talk, because that's all it is. And the more you buy into it, or the more you react, is you're just fanning the flames. And so you'll sit there. There was one where we were on a domestic downtown, and PD was with us, and we had separated the two parties that were fighting, and the female had called us. Well, this guy, I'll say it, he was in a Raiders jersey, was standing in the street with his phone out, and he was like 3 feet away from us. And me and this KCPD officer are interviewing the victim, and she's the one that called. So
Right.
just that's the moral of the story. And he's sitting there, kind of barely standing. It was a Chiefs game, so and this was at night, so that he had probably been partaking in adult beverages all day, and and so he's sitting there, kind of barely, kind of weavering back and forth, and he basically says, "I'm here for your safety" to the female, and he kept saying it, and finally, I won't say her name because I worked with her a lot for KCPD. We were in this kind of the same zone. She turns around, she goes, "She called us. So if you could back up 10 feet and give us a little room to work here, that'd be fantastic." He's like, "I'm here for your safety." And so there's some people that just like to be in the way.
Well, see, and that's the thing is, I was going to bring that up, and I'm glad you did with phones, being recorded, and you'll get that a lot too. Is I'm going to record you. I'm going to record you. What are you going to do?
Go ahead.
Nothing. Fantastic. You're more than welcome to. If you do me
show it to
one
my
favor,
supervisor, so they can see how good of a job I
if you do me one favor, take a couple of steps back so you're not in the middle of me trying to talk to this person. I don't care.
Yeah.
That's all. I just don't want you involved. I don't want you getting hurt. I don't want you in the middle of it. If you want to record, fantastic. I got zero issue with you doing it.
Yeah.
Because guess what? We're on camera anyway. There are cameras in the stores. There's cameras here. There's camera. Fantastic. Record all you want. Just step a couple of feet that way.
Yeah, that's the best way to handle them is, one, is kill them with kindness, or just completely ignore them. The worst thing you can do is get triggered by something they say, and they're going to look for things like that. Those auditors will come, and I understand, their meaning behind it, to keep people or to keep the public officials honest. I'm all for that, but be respectful about it. When they go start walking into police precincts and they're in areas they're not supposed to be in, like, I pay for this building, I can be here. You just look like you got nothing else better to do.
When you inevitably run into somebody like that, you know the difference between someone who knows what they're doing when they're doing it, because those auditors are everywhere, and there's nothing. And again, like you,
yes, Joe, we shouldn't be doing that anyway.
There are those people, and there's nothing wrong with what they're doing. It's perfectly legal. They're allowed to do it. And it's fantastic. Great.
A lot of my family members went to war so they could do what they're doing.
Yeah.
And I'm all for it. Just be respectful.
But it's one of those things.
And you don't have to be respectful, but you should.
But you can tell the difference between the ones who know what they're doing and the ones who are doing it just to get a reaction. Because the ones who know what they're doing, when they know that you understand what they're doing and what they're
it's just a conversation at that point.
It's a conversation. Within about 5 minutes, they usually walk away and they leave because they're like, okay, cool. This person understands what I'm doing. They understand what's going on.
Yeah.
I have no reason to be here. Then you get the ones that we all run into that want to cause a reaction.
Right.
The biggest thing is with that being nice, kill them with kindness. I've run into them before, and it's like, hey man, I really appreciate this. Thanks for doing what you're doing. I understand what you're doing. Thanks for saying that. I really appreciate. And they'll be, mother effing me and dropping bombs. And it's like, cool. I appreciate that. Fantastic. You have the right to say that stuff. Fantastic. Have a wonderful day. I appreciate it. And eventually, they're just like, I can't get a reaction. Out, and they leave.
Yeah. Usually.
Usually.
I wish I would have thought of this before because we'd kind of gone over this episode before we came out here. But when I was in de-escalation school this last year, they gave us a thumb drive of the class and all the videos we watched. And there's this really cool video of this. He's obviously like a SWAT officer, but he's just on regular duty. And there's these, I think it's 2 or 3 individuals walking around with ARs on their slings, and they had, sidearms, open carrying in a legal capacity, of course, but it's just causes for concern.
It freaks people out.
So the officer he gets a bunch of calls, and he shows up, and instead of showing up and saying, "Hey, let me see your ID," and "What are you doing here?" He's really cool, and they're pushing back right away, trying to get him and bait him. But he's, gosh dang, I wish I remember it. It's like a 5-minute video. But he gets out and he's talking to him, and after a while, he finally builds a rapport with him to where they're not just like, "I'm not answering questions. I don't, talk about my day." And finally, they're kind of talking a little bit, and he finally gets him to like, "Hey, can you show me ID? I know lawfully or legally you don't have to. I just want to check your IDs because we've had some bad actors in the area, and I just want to make sure you can legally, have those weapons." And he goes, "If I show you my gun," and he's like, "and I guarantee you it's cooler than yours because it doesn't have to fall within the parameters of a citizen." It's like a 10-inch barrel and all these cool pieces of furniture, attachments that are on it. And finally he does. He goes, "I'll even let you hold it. I'll clear it, hand it to you." And so finally he gets them, and so they tell him what their business is, and they let their guard down a little bit, because he builds a relationship with them. And I thought it was really cool. And the way he did it, I mean, the guy definitely, hopefully, got a bonus or a raise for that because of just how cool he was about it. He wasn't an asshole, and he was just like, hey, you know, there's concerned citizens around here. There's 3 fairly heavily armed guys, and just to do it, like, you know, there's you know, let's figure out why you're here. And so he goes over, pulls his AR out, and starts showing. It's a really cool one. Starts showing it to him, and they're holding it and looking at it like, holy shit, this one is really cool. You know, and so just seeing that relationship being built. You know, that's how you turn what could be a bad interaction into a good one. Yeah. And then there was another one where the guy did the same thing. He wasn't as nice, but he was very just like up front, like, hey, you have to do this, this, and this, but I'm willing to, you know, give here, here, and here. And he ended up, you know, doing the same thing, just in a different direction. But I wish I would have thought of that. Maybe next episode I'll show you that. We'll pull. Yeah,
and I mean that's just another tactic of disarming them. I will say for any security officers, don't give up your firearm to somebody. Yeah, just saying. Obviously. Just I have to say it.
Oh yeah, no, this is a police officer. Yeah, he still had his firearm on him. He just had one. He had an AR in the back, and so he's like, "Hey, I'll show you mine."
That's the de-escalation right there. Is he's taking what could be a hostile situation where these guys are very defensive and argumentative, and he's talking to them with respect. You know, and that's the big thing too. Is when you run into this, is don't be for lack of a better way of saying it, don't be an ass. When you're talking to them, talk to them with the same way you would expect someone to talk to you, and that's the biggest thing I always tell somebody when you're in the field or something like that. Talk the way you would expect someone to talk to you. If you would expect someone to walk up to you and start cussing you out and stuff like that, all that's going to do is aggravate you. Mm-hmm. So if you walk up, introduce yourself, tell them who you are, why you want to talk to them, 9 times out of 10, you're going to get a much better reaction than walking up and saying, "Hey, jag off." You know, it's just it's respect. You know, it show them the same amount of respect you would expect either someone in this field to show you, or you would hope somebody in this field would show you, and that will disarm a whole lot faster than a lot of other things.
Yeah, no, I agree. And that's kind of the whole point of this whole episode is just learning how to handle those. And it comes through experience, you know. But, again, sometimes you have to know when to cut bait and just get out of the situation. Yep. And other times, you know, you can try and build that rapport. But there's some people that are just hell-bent on being an asshole. Yeah. And if that's the case, then remove yourself from the situation because they're just going to continue to pester you. And everybody has their threshold. I've got a pretty long fuse, you know, so it's going to take a while before I'm like, all right, screw it. You know, I'm out of here. You know, I'm not going to let you continue to talk to me that way. But unfortunately, some of these positions we're in where we're stuck at one location, you know, hop on the radio and say, hey, I need a supervisor. This guy, he's just being relentless. Yeah. And then we'll contact PD or you get a supervisor. Like I said, sometimes like, oh, he brought backup. You know, they'll stop. Sometimes they can make it worse, but just that's why I said reach out to a supervisor, explain the situation you're going through. And we will help you address it, or we'll send reinforcements to be like, hey, leave my guy alone. Yeah. Like, he's just doing his job. We had one the other day where our officer's up front where he needs to be at the location. Oh, crap, I keep tugging on this cord. And this guy comes up behind him and starts yelling gun. Just to F with him, if you will. Yeah. And he starts spinning his head around. He's like, where? What are you talking about? And the guy's like, ha, 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 ha. Got you. And it's like, what kind of piece of shit human being does that to somebody? Yeah. Like, why? The guy's doing his job. You know, sure, you have your reservations about security, police, whatever, but get a job. Yeah. Get a job. So, yeah. And again, that's a perfect example. He was never going to be able to build a rapport with that guy. There's nothing he could say to get that guy. Yeah, he was doing that for likes and clicks and whatever. And not only is it dangerous, it's stupid. Yeah. You know, and so that's a perfect situation of you're not going to be able to talk your way out of that or work with that person and try and build a relationship and, you know, change their dynamic a little bit. Yeah.
But that's the part of the experience of knowing the difference between the two and, you know, seeing that coming and being able to deal with it. And when you have something like that, keeping your head on the swivel and paying attention to what's around you and knowing your surroundings, that's where that part of that comes in key. Yeah. You know, there's a part of this that says, you know, maintaining the professional behavior, but there's also understanding clear boundaries and without escalating into conflict and knowing that, hey, this is we're done with this conversation.
Yeah, it's like I said,
we've all had those.
Yeah, no one cut. Like he didn't engage that guy anymore. He knew. Yeah. Once he was like, "Ha, I got you." Like, he just stopped. Good for you, dude. Like, yeah. Who aren't you going to get?
And
that's
situation? The thing is, knowing that cutoff point, and being like, okay, this is no longer something that we can have a civil conversation about. It's time for this conversation to end and walk away and continue doing your job. Or calling a supervisor and saying, hey, this guy's not leaving me alone.
I'm getting in a little over my head.
Yeah, I've dealt with this guy for 10 minutes now, and I've asked him politely to stop, and he's not stopping, and he's just, you know, calling for help on that. There's nothing wrong with that. But that's exactly it. It's killing with kindness, be polite, be professional, and just staying on that path of maintaining that, and that will absolutely 99% of the time take over.
Yeah, don't let them break you.
Yeah.
Don't let them break you.
When it comes to others where maybe you're part of a situation like the domestic violence that we've, as patrol officers, have handled, supervisors have all handled,
Sure.
or
Lots of them.
stuff like that. When you're doing that, something that you can also do is it's called active listening, where it's actually paying attention to what they're saying and trying your best to help them in that situation. And either, and you keyed on it perfectly, where you separated the parties, and that's pulling them away, saying, hey, we're going to talk to both of you. I'm going to get both your sides, but I need you guys away from each other first so we can calm down and we can talk like civil human beings.
Well, and that also gives them a better opportunity to give the truth if them together is going to lead. If you're being abused by somebody and you're together, you're more than likely going to tell the story that abuser wants you to tell. So that's why we're taught to, it's instructed in the academy why you separate them. Is not only is it dangerous to keep them together, but two, you're going to get them away in a comfortable situation where they're more willing to tell you, hey,
what's going on.
Yeah, he actually, or she, he or she, just knocked my socks off over, I used the wrong noodles. Sorry, but that's something that we do. And active listening should be a given. You should never just, okay, I understand. That's so disingenuous, and you're never going to get a good response from somebody. I mean, why would you? I wouldn't. If somebody's like, I get it. Oh, it sucks. I understand. Like, give me an actual response to where you're going to say, hey, I care, and I want to help you. Otherwise, this is probably not the profession for you. So, yeah, active listening is the most important part of what we do. And so, yeah, definitely key in on that. And, yeah, like what you're doing. Yeah. You got it. Absolutely.
I couldn't help it.
Oh, really? Yeah. And then, like, hey, I stopped talking, and you kept saying, I'm like, sure, you got it. Whatever, Coop. So, but yeah, that's always, that should go without saying is,
it should go, but at the same time, you always want to key on and stuff like that, because even though it's a given and it's a natural and it's what should be done, it's always nice to hear it and affirm that, hey, this is the norm. This is the standard of where you start, is that active listening and using empathy and stuff like that to diffuse the situation, get the party separated, or just to engage.
Absolutely.
Yeah, 100%.
Yeah.
Look at that face. You can tell he's totally not paying attention to anything.
There's a fine line between active listening and some people will kind of overdo it, and I've seen people that it's almost like a tick. We're like, and it's like, I think they're genuine, but it's hard to tell. And the thing is, just sometimes it's good to sit there for long periods of time and let somebody talk. I learned a long time ago in relationships, men, anybody can be, but me personally, I'm a fixer. So if someone starts talking to me about a problem, I need to figure out if they want to vent or if they want me to fix it. And so I have a good habit of saying at the very beginning, I go, do you want me to fix this or do you want me to just listen? Because I'll do both, or I'll do one or the other. I can't do both. And so I've learned to sit back and I'll go, because I'll hear it and I'll be like this is a problem. Like, okay, so instantly my body goes, all right, how do I fix this? It starts breaking it down. Okay, this is the main problem. This is a part of that problem. This is how I can help fix that problem. And then, okay, now move on to this is another part. And so I'll start analyzing that, and then it'll be something I can't fix.
Yep.
And then it'll cause me and this other person
heartache.
I won't say any names, my wife, to get mad at each other, because it's like, well, no, I just want you to listen. And it's like, okay, I will listen if you want me to listen.
I had to get much better about being able to tell the difference and physically say, do you need me to fix this?
Yeah.
Or are you just venting? Because I'm real bad. And you know this. I'm real bad of you. Someone will tell me a problem that doesn't need to be fixed.
Yeah.
And within 30 seconds, I'm like, well, you can do this. And then someone will look at me and go, I don't need you to. And I'm like, oh, my bad.
Yeah.
So I've had to get much better about that myself.
Yeah.
But that's what that stuff is.
Yeah.
And learning those traits and understanding where that cutoff is extremely important.
Yeah, well, like I said, it's the very beginning of the vent session or the I have a problem session is, which one is it? Is it a problem, or do you just want to sit here and tell somebody?
I've had it in the middle. I've had it in the middle of like, hey, I've got a problem I need you to fix, and then as soon as they're done, like, now I'm just going to vent. It's like, oh, okay, we're going to stop.
Yeah, absolutely.
But other than that,
good afternoon, preacher.
Preacher, thanks for joining us.
That person doesn't work. That person does work. Oh no, okay.
That's our Colorado fan.
Oh, that's right. Did we ever send a?
We did.
Oh, good. That's a promise that I made that I didn't know I could make, but I made it anyway.
You did anyway.
I'm pretty good at those. Yeah, we'll take care of that. No problem. Hey, can we actually take care of that?
Shoot.
Foot in my mouth. Yeah.
But no, so that's the important bits on that. Is the kind of
Brian, is there anything else you would like to expound on?
Kind of going circling back is
Just kidding.
being attentive, paying attention to that
He's
stuff.
like the satellite producer.
Yeah.
We got to give Brian a big shout out for how much effort and thought and time and just pretty much everything that gets put into the show aside from Coop. I mean, we're not joking when I just show up and I go, what are we doing today? And
I try to be nicer and not throw you under the bus for that.
Yeah, but it's true. It's kind of a rare talent. I can just show up and it's like improv.
It's
whose line is it anyway? Where the points don't matter,
Everything's
there's
made
no
up.
rules. And
With the point, everything's made up and the points don't matter.
yeah, something like that.
Yeah.
yeah.
I love that show. I used to
You
watch
didn't
it all the time.
think you.
But
of course.
no, I've always given Brian the credit that he's due when it comes to the podcast.
I mean, whoa, slow down.
No.
Let's not go there too far.
He deserves a lot of credit
No, he
because he put a lot
does.
of it in the back end. He's helped me out a ton with the setup and cameras and how all of that stuff works together, and becoming better at getting us an outline realistically on how it goes, so that way we
So
don't.
it's not just us up here blabbing.
Yeah.
So we actually
And
get
so-
people to watch us.
He's done a ton of footwork to help me on the back end and me be better, and then help control you. But
good
you
luck.
have a talent that it's upsetting at how good you are about what are we doing today, and I can just tell you, or I can give you this, and within minutes you've got a full thing to go on, and it's awesome.
I got a weird brain.
It's annoying, but it's
I
awesome.
have a weird creative brain. I don't know. Yeah. Was it left side, right side brain?
I don't know.
But other than that, what kind of crappy weather do we have to look forward to for the weekend?
Fantastic.
Wait, so what's the new structure here before we go into weather?
New structure. Oh, for the podcast, you didn't watch the video, of course not.
Okay, never mind.
Fantastic.
If there's already video, then move on. All right, weather.
No.
Weather.
I'll go over it so you know.
We don't
so
need-
we're only doing one. We're only doing one video a week now.
It's Fridays.
It's Fridays.
Okay.
And we have an actual structure for the videos that I'll go over later with you.
So Brian created and said, "Hey, stop being
Well, we went
boring,"
together. We went over it together. We worked on it together.
Yeah.
And so we have an actual setup of how the videos work. We're only doing one a week, so that way we can make them better. I can come up with better outlines. We can get it all planned out.
Sure.
And so makes better videos.
Quality over quantity.
Exactly. And so we wanted to make it better for everybody else, including
Good deal.
ourselves.
Yeah.
So that way we weren't always frantically trying to get something out. And
Yeah. It's probably easier for me to be here on those if I know it's just one
exactly.
a week too.
It makes everything flow better. It makes everything easier, and it makes better content for.
Oh
for
yeah,
our
and also
viewers.
more reaction videos and more fun stuff.
Yep. And so
Go more hot sauce.
maybe we'll see.
Okay.
So we'll dive into the weather real quick with what we're looking at for the weekend. Today we had a nice cool 41 with clouds all day. It was actually pretty nice.
Cool beans.
Saturday we're looking at 53 and sunny all weekend. Sunday 61, Monday 67. Tuesday 71. Wednesday we're looking at 73 with supposable rain in the afternoon. Thursday 67, scattered showers. And then Friday 62, Saturday 63. So we're getting into the mid 60s, low 60s, 70s area. Hopefully kind of warming back up.
I don't
into
mind
that
this
weather.
weather.
But
I
this
don't
is
mind.
not. I like this weather right
Yeah,
where we're
it's good
sitting
hoodie,
right now.
rainy weather. But I like it for a little bit. If it like goes for more than 2 or 3 days, it starts to make you kind of like sad. So I like.
No.
Yeah.
No, I love this weather.
No, it's terrible.
Oh yeah, I don't have to turn my AC on anymore or my heater or anything like
I've
that.
had my
It's perfect.
we've had our heat off for the last like week and a half.
Everything's been off.
Windows open at night. It's nice.
I actually have that for 100%. But other than that, guys, we're going to let you guys get back to it and enjoy your weekends. We will catch you again on Friday. This coming Friday is going to be a fun one because it's going to be a reaction video.
Oh boy.
We have one planned out. It's a really nice one.
Great.
You'll love it.
I'm sure I will. I
will.
love my heart
Hates
being
these
yanked.
things.
Yeah.
But so we've got that coming up. So it's going to be a good one, guys. So be sure to tune in for that. And again, if you guys have any ideas or
Leon on
anything
that
like that, yes.
Good.
If you guys have anything you want us to go over or anything like that, don't forget you guys can always put it in the comments. We read those and check those out and make sure if we can.
I don't,
we
but
do.
Coop does.
Brian helps me with that as well.
Okay, there you go.
But other than that, we'll let you guys get to your weekend and enjoy that. Have fun, stay safe, guys. Remember, don't do anything we wouldn't do. Haha. But other than that, remember, hydration is key.
I
was waiting to see if you give me.
I was waiting to see if
Hydration
you
is
were gonna
key.
say it.
Hydration is the day before, not the day of. Thanks, guys, and we'll catch you on the next one.
Peace
Stay
out.
safe.